Everyone is trying to tell you have to play the Bone build on Necromancer, not me. Summoner build it is, leveling 1 to 50. Skill breakdown, aspects, Paragon board, everything. Timestamps are in the description below. Let's go. First, let me walk you through the Book of Dead, and then we're going to go skill 1 to 50, click by click by click. I'm choosing Reaper Skeletons to have a 15% chance to make more corpses. Then also we're using Shadow Mages, and they should be doing Shadow every 6th attack bonus. And we'll come to that. There's also a way how to use Freeze, but we're going to focus here on Shadow. For the Golem, it's choose your poison. You either take 15% less damage, or you make the Golem make more corpses as well. That kind of comes down to how secure you feel in your survivability. Now for the skill tree, Decompose is absolutely annoying to use because you have to stand still. Sever, you have to go into melee range. The only one that really makes sense is Bone Splinters, but we're actually not even going to use Bone Splinters. It's just for the very beginning. The first 2 points go in Bone Splinters and Enhanced Bone Splinters. Now, we will use Blight for this build, but for the first 20 levels, we're actually going to use Bone Spear with the Enhanced Bone Spear and the Supernatural Bone Spear for the vulnerable. But in the long run, as soon as we hit level 20, we're going to swap this for Blight, and I'll tell you why. But we're working this down level by level by level. After putting these 3 points in, you're going to put 1 into Hued Flash for the bonus corpses, Corpse Explosion, Grim Harvest for the essence generation, and the bonus damage when you're actually consuming corpses. Then we'll boost our Skeletal Warriors, 1, 2, 3, and also our Skeletal Mages, 1, 2, 3. Now we're at level 16 already, and we've put quite some good points in. Now, obviously, since we need another point to get kind of like down here, we can put the point finally into Enhanced Corpse Explosion to kind of increase the range for that a little bit. And we can also put 1 point into Fortify to enhance our survivability. Now we're at level 18, and here comes the interesting part. Now we're going to take Reaper's Pursuit. Damaging enemies with darkness skills increases your movement speed by 5%. And also, when you damage enemies with darkness skills, they take 2% increased shadow damage from you and your minions for 2 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. Now we've taken these two and we're level 20. And as I said, here comes the thing now. We're going to get rid of Bone Spear, and we're going to go for Blight because that's shadow damage, followed up by Blight slows enemies with the 15% bonus damage from the Blight. And then we can actually remove the Bone Spear because this is what we're going to be focusing on. Blighting people, damaging people, and we're also going to have aspects for that. So no worries about that. Down here again, we have the movement speed bonus, and we do have the bonus damage when we're actually doing shadow skills. And then with the next point, we can also get our Blighted Corpse, because now instead of doing corpse explosions, we do pools of blight damage that then give us bonus damage and bonus movement speed as well. And we're going to be having the Blood Mist now leveled up into Enhanced Blood Mist, and also into Blood Mist produces corpses. Now with the Blighted Corpse Explosion and the Ghastly Bloody Mist for the corpses, plus then the first aspect we're choosing, and here we're going for Blood Mist, and there's 2 aspects. One that triggers the corpse explosion, and we 100% want that. But there's another interesting one, and that is Blood Mist leaves behind a trail of shadow. So that shadow damage trail that you leave behind gives you bonus movement speed. You do not get movement speed minus from Blood Mist anymore, so you get movement speed, and the trail of shadow also triggers the bonus damage again. Plus, since the bonus shadow is also the blight there, we're going to have them stand in and your minions do 15% bonus damage. But yeah, cool. Love it. And since a Blighted Corpse Explosion, that counts as blight as well, 15% bonus increased damage. You see where we're going with this, right? Instead of making people vulnerable, we're actually blighting everything, and then we're getting bonus damage from everything kind of, and enhancing our damage with a shadow damage. And since we now are finally down here with the points that we have spent, we can now go for Army of the Dead. And here comes the interesting point with your skills now. That's Army of the Dead, level 25, right? And you'd say, but how do I do Army of the Dead? Because I have Blood Mist already. You have Corpse Explosion, in case you're going to use that. Followed up by, you're going to use Skeleton, Golem. And then if you would have Bone Splinters and Blight, there's no space for Army of the Dead, where you're not actually going to be using your Bone Splinters at all. You're going to put Army of the Dead in there instead. And how is that possible? Well, due to the immense corpse generation we're having with all our skills, and especially the corpse production from Blood Mist, and then the ability to, with Grim Harvest, creating bonus essence on corpse use, we're essentially constantly having essence for the blight anyways, and we do not need to use blown splinters at all. So we make corpses, we consume corpses, and we constantly make essence. And that's also the most important skill to actually push first up now with the next 2 levels, that you always have enough essence and you never struggle with the essence. Now we're 27 points in, and you can essentially fill it out down here. You can go when Army of the Dead's volatile skeletons explode, they have a 15% chance to leave behind a corpse. Good, that's more corpses. And Army of the Dead also raises everyone. So if you lose your minions, you raise them back up. Now we should probably level up Golem Mastery first, but I love 1 point into Skeletal Priest healing. Then you can also have your minions not take maximum damage straight away. After you've been healthy, your minions get attack speed, and also your minions deal 10% increased damage while you're close to them. So these are the first ones where you put 1 point in. Then you can actually boost your Golem if you feel like it. But to be fair, I think the next level should be straight up going into boosting all of these here. So you can get more in damage. Then you can go down here, and instead of Talon's Edict, after you've not taken damage in the last 3 seconds, your minions gain 15% attack speed. We are actually going to choose Shadow Blight. Shadow damage infects enemies with Shadow Blight for 2 seconds. You and your minions deal 10% bonus damage to enemies with Shadow Blight, okay? Every 10th time an enemy receives shadow damage from you or your minions, that means you have the 5 skeletons. 5 skeletons do shadow damage, and every 6th attack they do double attack. While they are affected by Shadow Blight, they take an additional 20% shadow damage. So you're essentially just going to be spamming them with shadow. You're going to have the pools of shadow below that also trigger the Shadow Blight from the corpse explosion, from the blight, and from the blood mist creating that. So you're essentially overloading them with Shadow Blight and just constantly triggering the Shadow Blight, and then just bursting them away. Now, we could obviously just put our next points to completely min-max out this, and we're definitely going to have the Hellbent Commander here maxed out. But I do actually like to return and just get our bonus damage for consuming corpses, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to be consuming corpses constantly so we can actually get that bonus damage out. And we can also get the Hoot Flesh up so we actually have a more chance to produce even more corpses. And then also get the Necrotic Carapace up to get the Super Fortify going. That would be level 42 already. And now it's just about filling out what you feel like. Your Golem doesn't feel good enough. Get the 3 points in here first. Then obviously get the Skeleton Heals in. Your bonus attack speed in for the Inspiring Leader. Get the death defense up so they don't die that easy. That's also something, if you feel like your minions died too fast and you need this earlier, obviously choose this over the other one, choose this over the carapace, choose this over the bonus damage, get that going. And now we can level up these also to get more movement speed with the bonus skill points you get for actually getting your renown up, and to get even more shadow damage. That would be 50 plus the 6 points, and we have 4 more points remaining. And they're a little bit choose your poison. You can do more damage to people close to you and take less damage, because we're going to be with the blood mist and everything anyways close to people, triggering the corpse explosion as we're in people. And therefore, we could definitely just do a general of 6% bonus damage. Also, with the 1 point left here, I would definitely put that into Corpse Explosion, because Corpse Explosion is essentially going to be one of the main skills that you're going to be using just to constantly generate essence and to constantly deal damage. And then obviously if you pick up items that increase Blight, that increase Corpse Explosion, items that also work on death defense, do that. Get it on. Get some points in there if possible. Now for bonus aspects, there's one on the helmet that you need, and that is obviously Skeletal, and we're going to go for more mages. Step number 1. Then on the boots, sit again, Skeletal, and we're going to go for more Skeletal Warriors. So get these 2 up. There's no question about this. And now on the weapon, I know a lot of people have been recommending use the Army of the Dead. But while Army of the Dead is active, your minions gain super attack speed and take 90% reduced damage. Interesting. But that's a damage boost every minute. Doesn't feel good. Instead, take Aspect of Frenzied Dead. Each time one of your summoning minions damages an enemy, they gain 10 to 14% attack speed for 3 seconds, up to 30 to 42%. So just let them ramp up that attack speed constantly. and do more shadow damage and trigger that 6th attack sooner so they can keep spamming that. For the gloves, there's an interesting one, and that one is Bound to Blight. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to take this over others, but Blight's defiled area when spawned pulls in enemies around the affected area. That's kind of cute because you can do Blight, pull the enemies together, and then multiple Blights, obviously, with your essence, and then go in with your Corpse Explosion, Blood Mist, and essentially dance around them and explode them all. Especially annoying when their enemies is like super spread out, so you can pull them together. Might be that we swap this out for some more shadow damage later, but I do like to be able to get them all together. For the pants, you have 2 to choose from. Either we're going for bonus armor in general, or we're going to go for your minions take less damage. I do feel like your minions will have enough survivability with the build that we have been going for, and you can obviously resummon them all the time because we have the huge amount of corpse creation. That being said, if you feel like your minions die too quick, take this one, but if you feel like you die too quick, get the bonus armor in. Then for the ring is the aspect of reanimation. Your skeletons gain increased damage while alive up to 20 to 30% after 10 seconds. So your skeletons essentially will constantly just have bonus damage going on. Going back to the aspect of the void, we're actually going to put that off the gloves and we're going to replace that through something different and put it on the chest. Because on the gloves, we can also take the aspect of decay. Each time the Shadow Blight key passive deals damage to enemies, increases the next Shadow Blight damage within 10 seconds by 20 to 40 damage. Or you have another choice here, and that would be you deal 50 to 120% increased damage for 6 seconds after the Shadow Blight key passive damages enemies 10 times. Now, that needs the Shadow Blight key passive to trigger 10 times. That means you need to do 10 attacks to trigger it, 10 times shadow damage. That means you need to do 100 times shadow damage to have it triggered 10 times to then do more damage. It is technically possible, but realistically, each time the key passive deals damage to enemies, it increases the next Shadow Blight's damage within 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. So that is easier to achieve. Then stack that up and just have your Shadow Blight key passive do more damage in general, instead of you yourself in total dealing more damage. Just keep that stacking up an aspect of decay them. And here you can obviously take the pull with aspect of the void. And I would probably just get damage over time, and damage over time socketed, because that's what you're doing. You're just literally doing damage over time with everything you're doing, plus obviously your minions slapping in. Now for the Paragon board, I know that is level 50 and beyond, so technically not in your level build, but still I want to give you an outlook. And here we're definitely going to go for the cult leader board at first, because the cult leader board afterwards is your minions deal 10% increased damage for each minion type you have active. And we're going to play all 3 minion types. And we're most likely going to be turning this once and twice and 3 times so we can get to the cult leader node a little bit earlier. There's also minion armor and maximum life increase. There is infused caster for more skeleton mage damage. But what you actually want to have is you want to have a glyph here, and you're going to put the Dead Razor glyph in. Paragon nodes within range gain plus 40% bonus to their minion damage and damage reduction modifiers. Plus the bonus, whenever your minions deal damage to an enemy, that enemy takes 1% increased damage. If you socket that in, you can see here it's 10% minion damage, 5% minion damage, 5%, 5%, 5%. So the amount of damage reduction you can hire here, 10% damage reduction, 5%, 5%, you know, like this is the main key you want to have. This is the main board. You want to go up here, and you're going to work your way obviously through the Paragon board up here to get all the intelligence nodes in the direction. And here you want to definitely get the bonus armor, the bonus intelligence. You want to get the bonus life so you can actually have your fortify clap even harder, fortify yourself and your minions. Very good. And afterwards, after this board, you have to choose a little bit your poison. Up here, between the either Flesh Eater, you can get corpse. Between the Flesh Eater, consuming 5 corpses increases damage. You can go buff your golem even more with hulking monstrosity. Or we can take even Wither to increase our shadow damage. I haven't decided 100% yet which is going to be my next Paragon board afterwards, but I kind of like the Flesh Eater because consuming 5 corpses against 40% increased damage, that's what's going to happen constantly. You're going to have these corpses consumed, and then all your pools of blight and everything do 40% increased damage straight away, which is quite cool, to be honest. Don't worry, we're also going to be going down on Blood Necromancer. We're going to make a full Shadow Necromancer. There's going to be a Bone one coming as well. But this is what I really want to play for leveling. Which Necromancer are you going to play, and are you going to give minions a try as well? I do believe a lot of people just undervalue how well you can build this, despite them obviously having played after level 50. Doesn't matter. We will make it work, we will get it done, and we'll absolutely show them that it's possible. Also, if you're looking for more games to play in June than Diablo, here's a full list of all the games releasing.